Hello everyone. Today we are getting our art inspiration from the book The Colour Monster by Anna Lennis. In this activity we are going to be using watercolour paints. Then we're going to be transforming them into colour monsters and different objects and creatures. Let's get started. So our inspiration is also coming from this Draw What You See ink blotch book. So I have a bit of a flick through and I get some ideas, and I see different animals like dogs, I see different sized people, I see just funny objects. I can see people going through hoops, goldfish, and I start by taking apart my watercolours. Now I've got a few different types of watercolours, from my warm colours, my cool colours, primary and secondary colours, so a little bit of everything. I have a cup of water, a black marker, my various size paintbrushes, and today I'm going to be using the thickest and widest paintbrush. So I start by getting my paintbrush and I dip it in a little bit of water to moisten it. I then select one of my colours on my palette and I start to paint. You want your colours quite dark, so don't add too much water. It'll make your page warp and get really yucky. In between each colour, make sure that you're rinsing out your paintbrush thoroughly. You don't want any bits of purple leaking into your red. It'll look really muddy. So for this first page, I'm using my primary and secondary colours. So purple, red, blue, green, pink, orange, and yellow. And I'm using these colours just to make my little monsters. So remember, I'm taking my inspiration from the book The Colour Monster, and it's all about our feelings and how different colours influence how we're feeling. So if we see something that's blue, it might mean that you're feeling sad. If we see something that's red, it might mean that you're feeling a bit angry or upset. If you see the colour green, it might mean that you're feeling quite calm. Purple can mean anxious, you're feeling worried about something. And yellow often means that you're feeling very happy and positive about something. Now I'm going to full forward this a little bit. So I've finished my colour and I add a little bit of my pink. I go back over any parts that I'd want to define and make a little bit more obvious. And I put that one aside and let it dry. Then I choose one extra piece of A4 paper and I start to colour all these different size and shape squiggles on the one page. So I've started with my blue sheet. Now I'm working on my red sheet. Remember to mix up the shapes and sizes. It's going to help you creating them into objects and people later. And I'm going to move on to my green. Think about what you might be able to turn these into later. Add some spots, some squiggles, and then put it aside and let it dry. Now coming back to our first colour sheet that's now dry, I'm going to collect my Sharpie, my black marker, and I start to outline my little monsters or my shapes. I follow the direction of the lines that I've made with the watercolour, and I can also add little parts on like I have done with the foot just to add extra shape to your monster. I'm going to full forward through these so you get a little bit of a rough idea of how you can create your monsters using a black marker and your watercolour splotches. Now that I'm finished my first page, I collect one of my colour pages that I've let dry. So I'm selecting my blue sheet and I start by turning the sheet and I have a bit of a look at what I can already see from it. If I'm not sure what I want to create it into, sometimes you might just start by outlining the object and then wondering what you might be able to create it into. So I keep adding details to all of my little blotches here, and I've made a duck, a flag, a sock, a chicken, some broken cinema tickets, And I keep turning my page each time to see different things. This is where I go into my super speed mode and I speed up all of my drawing and my thinking. Some of them I have to just make into funny looking objects because I found it really, really difficult. Now, once you're finished with the one colour, go ahead and try with the different colour pages. So I've got my rainbow monsters, angry, happy, glad, anxious, sad, calm, magical. Then I go onto my blue sheet, my green sheet, and then finally my red sheet. Do as many as you like. Be creative. See you next time.